Hey there, it's Crafty Jennabug. Welcome to another part in my May Junk Journal series. I hope you're enjoying it so far. I sure am. So let's get to it, shall we? We're coming in. I think this is probably going to be the last part of actually working in this journal. I don't have too many more pages left to decorate. A small grouping here. And then there's this single one, which I could honestly leave blank for journaling space. I do want to leave this mostly blank. I love the birds. Maybe a quote or something. And then there's a small group here, which I may leave that blank. Small group there. And then another small group here. And then this page, I'm not sure yet if I should leave it blank. So we're, coming to the end of this. So for this centerpiece, I am going to back this poem on this scrap of scrapbooking paper and glue it to the page. I have this die cut that I want to put right here, but it blends in too much with the background, so I'm going to spritz it with a little bit of Distress Oxide ink. I think I want to add a couple of splatters of the brown. Maybe I should emboss the edges. I like that a lot. Now the question is, should I put something up here? Everything I've tried, I don't like. Alright, I found a smaller version of the same die cut and gave it the same treatment, and those pages feel complete to me now. Yay! I have a plan for this page. I've got this piece of ribbon that I want to put down here, just as a decorative element. And then I have this, center it on the ribbon. And then I've made a paper flower I really love to go in there. I think it needs sequin or a rhinestone in the middle. All right, and then while that dries, I want to make a tag for this that has similar colors in it. I've got this paper and the pinks are similar, so I think I will use it. All right, for this, for decorating this pocket, I decided to glue down this image. It came from an artscavenger.com printable. I took another die cut and I sprayed mowed lawn on both sides of it so that you can see it peeking out of the back, and glued it down. And then for the pocket, I took this piece of scrapbook paper, cut it to size, took the sentiment, "A flower blossoms for its own joy," quoted to Oscar Wilde, put a green background on the quote, glued it down and sewed around it so that you can see it, and it adds a bit more green. I think it ties the two pages together pretty well. So that's another 2 pages done. What? This is dry now. I can trim that ribbon. All right, moving right along. Alright, so for this page here, I opted to take a piece of coffee dyed paper, cut it out to the margins that I wanted, distressed around it in Vintage Photo Distress Oxide ink, and then I took my little foam blending tool and just lightly went over the creases since it was all wrinkled from where I had dyed it. I don't iron. I just don't. So I went over the ridges, and now it looks like a really cool journaling space. I ended up adding a die cut of what I would guess are coneflowers. And I think they just add that little bit of something that I felt was missing from this page. So to these two pages, I added a quote, "Flowers are the music of the ground from earth's lips spoken without a sound." And that's quoted to Edwin Curran. This page, I wanted to leave as it is. I was playing around with some Distress Oxide sprays, and the way they dribbled, these look like stems and these look almost like daffodils to me. So I'm gonna leave that as it is. I have this piece of snippet roll, and it fits perfectly right here, like a collaged pocket. So I'm gonna do that. And I'm gonna leave these little edges. I kind of like them. For this page, I have this piece of masterboard, and I'm gonna glue it down like that and make a belly band. And that will lend a little bit of stability to this page. While that belly band dries, I'm going to make up a tag to put in it. This is a printable that I found on Pinterest. I can't remember the name, but I'll link it below. I'll link the pin down below. I printed this on some cardstock. I want to make the back not so white. What should I do? Let's use some frayed burlap. Okay, so I've distressed around it in frayed burlap, and I used frayed burlap to decorate the back. I want to poke a hole in the center at the top and put this little purple charm on it. I don't even remember where I found these. Probably on clearance forever ago. I know I've had them for a while. But how cute is that? This is what it looks like. The belly band is not quite dry, so I can't put it in all the way, but that's what it's going to look like. I don't have any other purple though, so I want to add maybe this little guy. And I think I will use some wilted violet to distress around it. Okay, does that bring enough purple in? I can add some purple over here as well. Here's what this pocket looks like all dried. I did add a little bit of purple to kind of bring the purple around and tie it all in together a little bit better. I really like the way this pocket turned out. And to go in the pocket, I decided to use another piece of that collage board. You won't see much of it until you pull it out, and then, you know, there's some correlation between the two. I want to add a tag topper on the top. And I also have Lie Among the Flowers, which I'm going to put right here. But first, I want to make it a little less stark using Vintage Photo Blending Brush. And then I'm going to use this same ribbon for a tag topper. Before I do that, I'm going to distress the back with some Vintage Photo. And that is how that will look. Peeking out of there. It needs to dry. So that pocket is filled. Well, will be filled. And then over here, my most recent trip to the thrift store, I found a bunch of little baggies full of paper pieces and things like that. And in one of those bags, I found this. Somebody, I guess, used a punch of some sort or a die cut, and they stamped "Have a great day" and a bunch of little floral stamps. And I thought it would look good right here, but I don't want to glue here because I want to be able to slip something in there and use it as like a belly band kind of thing. So we're going to glue that down. And to show you what I mean, I've got this little ticket. I can go in there. Like, it's a ticket to have a great day. I like that actually, that's gonna stay. For this page, I have this little scrap that I'm going to glue down like a pocket. I'm lining it up so that you still see the white. All right, for this pocket, I have these two tags. This one was a printable. If I can find a link for it, I will include it. I distressed it with vintage photo on the back and around the edges. This one was part of a piece of scrapbook paper, and I love it as it is. I distressed the edges with vintage photo on the front and the back. Journaling space could be done on both sides, and they will just live right there now. I really like them together. On this page, I'm going to do some collage, and I'm going to use a glue stick first. So there's that page. I do need to wait for the matte gel to dry in a few places before I can turn the page, but I'm not mad about it. I think that turned out pretty cool. A little bit of collage, some butterflies I never thought I'd use. This actually was a paint sample that a die cut was made out of. This page, I think I kind of want to leave it as it is, honestly. So this is now dry. I love it. And I think I want to put these little like dimensional stickers down here. And that's all I'm going to do to this page. May. And then you can see it when you turn this page. You'll see it down here and be like, oh, what's that? All right, for this little flap, I'm actually going to decorate it and then glue it down to make a pocket this way. So to do that, I'm going to put some protective paper behind, and I'm going to take some peeled paint and a brush. And I'm just going to brush it all over. All right, there is my pocket. I used peeled paint for the background. For the leaves, I used Rustic Wilderness. The centers of the flowers, I used Spiced Marmalade, and the petals, I used Candied Apple. Then I took vintage photo and distressed around the edges, and I went ahead and glued it down. So I got a pocket. I'm gonna give that a few minutes to dry, and while that dries, I have this cute little guy that I want to put over here as another side pocket on this envelope pocket. All right, for this pocket, I have this tag. It's another free printable. I distressed around it in frayed burlap, and on the back, same frayed burlap. Then I sewed around it and tied a knot right here. And that's going to live in there. A little bit of peeking. And then for this pocket, I have these two. These are also printables from artscavenger.com. And I thought they were super cute. I distressed around the edges with vintage photo, and I used vintage photo on the back of this one. On this one I used tumbled glass. And they are just going to live in there. So cute. Now for this side, I've got to figure out something for this pocket and to decorate, something to decorate this. Before I decided what to do on this pocket, I wanted to do something with this page. And I have this piece of scrapbooking paper. It was actually a little scrap left over from something. And I think it'll make a nice little journaling space. But the question is, do I want to add anything else to it? There we go, a cute little journal space. I don't think this is cut evenly or laid straight or something. Oh well, it's glued down now. It is what it is. That's lovely. Okay, so now that I've got something here, I want to do something over here. And I think I will, haven't used these, and I want to use them. I think I'll use Rustic Wilderness Permanent Archival Ink. Yeah, I really like that. Now for something to go in the pocket. Here is what I have for this envelope pocket. It's a quote, "Everything is blooming most recklessly. If it were voices instead of colors, there would be an unbelievable shrieking into the heart of the night." And I distressed the edges in Vintage Photo. It will go right in there. And I love the way the back looks. It works so well for me. For this page, I decided to make it another journaling spot. I am getting kind of bulky. So I'm going to use this paper, which I cut off of this tag. And I think it looks pretty good right here as some journal space. And then I have this as it's part of a printable from artscavenger.com. And I like it down here. Yeah, very cute. Simple little journal space, little decorative accent. In this page, I know I said I didn't want to do anything to these pages, but I have things like this. That could work as like a tuck spot for something small. I think I like this one the best, actually. For this tuck spot, I have this little card. I believe it came from a piece of scrapbook paper. I distressed around the edges on the front with Vintage Photo, and on the back I used frayed burlap. I think it looks pretty good in here without taking away too much from the beautiful image in the background. This I'm going to leave blank. I like it just as it is, even though it's more of a golden brown color and it kind of clashes a little bit, but it works for me. This page. So on this page, I found a quote the other day. "Don't wait for someone to bring you flowers. Plant your own garden and decorate your own soul." And I wanted to include it on this page. And because I made the Dewberry ink this month, I figured why not use it as the way to write it, you know? It happened in May. This is the May journal. It felt right. And the purple flowers on this page, like, I don't know, it works for me. And then I did a couple of little splatters with a paintbrush using the same ink, and I absolutely love it. I distressed it with some Vintage Photo around the edges and a little bit in here. I wrote it on some lightly, I think it's tea-dyed paper. Used a little bit of packing paper that had some shimmery acrylic paint on it. And it works. I feel like something is needed up here, but I don't want to cover the flowers. So I think I'm going to call that page done also. That leaves me with this little guy. And I think that is the last one. I decided to use this last tissue paper tag I made at the beginning of this series as kind of a collage piece. Alright, I think that page is complete. Very simple. I really wanted this to be the focal point, and I think the butterfly may steal a little bit of the show, but it was too pretty not to include. So that was the last page I wanted to decorate. It's pretty crazy that this journal is finished. Like, I'm having a really hard time with it. All I got to do now is go through and journal, and then also any little last embellishments I feel like making, maybe some splatters of gold. I think this page could really use a little bit of splatter. That was a lot of fun. So yeah, this is the final decorating video. The next video will be a completed flip through and showing what all I've journaled and done. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you're enjoying this series as much as I am. It's a lot. I've come to realize exactly what I got myself into, and while I'm not upset about it or anything like that, I am having a lot of fun. I am mildly overwhelmed. So the journals, I think, are going to get a little shorter for each month, but I have some cool things planned, so stay tuned. Have a great day.